Hi everybody, it's me, Dennis Woodruff. Thank you for tuning in to MasterClass with Dennis Woodruff. Today we're going to talk each week, about a different aspect of the business, my life mixed in, and how to make it in show business, what to do, what to look for, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's have some fun as well. Be sure and press the subscribe button so you can see future episodes. Today we're going to talk about producing for one. And producing I've been doing for over 18 years. I kind of taught myself all aspects of the business. I even do my own writing and I do my own camera work a lot of times. I oversee editing, but I don't actually do the process. I have some nice people, a couple people helping me out. Producing is something that you oversee the whole project from start to finish. You oversee the director, the actor, the producer. A lot of times I'm the director and I'm also the star. But also I'm a visionary. So I see the whole picture before I do it. So sometimes you might even, I forgot to say, an outline. You might do storyboarding as far as an outline scene by scene when you're making a movie, TV show, or cartoon. But most of all, producing is the overshadowing and watching behind the scenes of the whole operation from start to finish. As they say, the full picture. You know, a lot of things in Hollywood are getting back to the old days of Hollywood. I remember when I was a kid, I went to John Wayne's house in Newport Beach, and he wrote my mom a letter after I went over there a couple times. And I was really only about 7 years old, and he wanted to put me in a movie, and he really liked that I wanted to be an actor. But now we're talking about producing. When I have my hands on a project, I know what I want to do. I know the whole thing. Some people might think, oh, well, you're not a big shot in Hollywood. Well, we're all big shots in Hollywood, but I guarantee you one thing. I'm not a kid out of film school or some kid with a camera. I've gone far beyond that. Another thing I wanted to incorporate in all of my shows is that after many years of doing this, and I notice even with the great famous ones, it becomes instinct, okay? I don't need to think out every aspect. I kind of get in the flow and do it piece by piece, and it happens in a natural way because I'm trained, I'm educated. Did you know that I went to 4 colleges and 2 acting classes privately with different places? I went to 4 colleges, not just one. I've taken classes, I've gotten degrees, I've done a lot of homework before I got started. The first time I came to Hollywood, I know I wanted to make something. I wanted to produce, direct, act, star in my own movies. I wanted to do it all. I wouldn't be happy with just showing up as an actor on the set and doing a few lines. And I also learned that improvisation is a good technique. I don't think every script has to be done word by word by word. That's not a good actor. A good actor also puts their own personality and their style and embellishes it to where it becomes even better. You know, I have the expertise of a lot more than a lot of the most famous actors because I do all aspects of it. I don't just show up and do a part. I like to play with the big boys, and I am a big boy. I just don't have the exposure, and a lot of my movies, 28 of them, haven't been seen around the world. Some have been seen in various places, but I don't have the money to market my stuff around the world. That's another aspect of producing. It's very important to get your stuff out on social media, billboards, advertising, newspapers, screenings, etc. A lot of times I've approached Netflix and Amazon and the different ones, and they want to make their own projects, but also they only want to work with famous people. and they don't really want to pay. Another thing that I've been discouraged about is when you go to film festivals around the world. The film festivals were started for unknowns, and then the studios got involved and overshadowed everybody and got their movies to be picked because they get the big stars to come to Utah or wherever it is, New York, like Robert De Niro has one. And they're all over the world now, but basically they're set up to make you go there, rent a hotel room, walk around, buy the food, and hang out for a week. And unfortunately, most people don't get any distribution after they leave. They're very discouraged. And you might get a room full of people that half of them aren't even in the business. They're just looky-loos from the locals, which is good. I remember when I was in Sundance, and I went there one year, and I went around and handed out my postcards and talked to people and got a massive amount of exposure, interviews by being around, and people were interviewing me, and it was going around the world. But the problem is it never really gets out to the people you want. And my little independent film that I worked with somebody else called Idling Brando was not really picked up, even though the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Science picked it up, and the Egyptian Theater said it was one of the 10 best short films ever made. And it was kind of funny. And I remember going to Mr. Brando's house. I was introduced to him, and screening Idling Brando, which was a 15-minute short movie, and he really liked it. He thought it was really funny, and it was basically about me looking up to Marlon Brando and hoping that I could work with him someday. And now Jack Nicholson tore down his house. He was really a good guy and funny and fun. I want to say my journey, it's the journey, not the destination. I don't care about the Walk of Fame or little statues and awards. I'm underground, but I'm also unknown famous. I've already been on TV around the world with my interviews and stuff, but I'd really like to focus now on my movies. I'd like to make some new movies and produce. That's the thing about making movies. You have to know what you're doing. You can't just come into this business. I've been on sets where people from film school, they don't even know what they're doing. And that confuses everybody that's trying to work with them. Producing is the master of the craft, the one that puts it all together and makes it happen. It also has to flow. You can't have any mistakes. You can't have problems. If you do, you have to fix them. You have to be, as a producer, I'm always working with every aspect of the making of the project, as well as the funding, the money, and a lot of times I always pay my talent. You have to pay your cast, you have to pay your crew, and don't get somebody in sound department going there trying to tell you how to direct your movie. Tell them, listen, you were hired to do the camera work, or the sound, or the lighting, or whatever it is. Don't come here and try to tell people how to do their job. You do your job and you focus on your job. A lot of times people think they know it all. And that's a real problem. I know I learn every day, and that's the beauty of life. If I keep myself open and I listen to people, I learn. If I close myself off, and you know the old saying, I know it all, I don't want to be like those people. I'm like a sponge. I like to absorb things. But don't judge a person by what you see in the media when you Google them or when you go on, what's it called? IMDb. That's the biggest bunch of horse shit I've ever seen. Yeah, people go there, but it's hard to post stuff on there. And a lot of times, like John Voight was telling me that most of the stuff that's on there is a bunch of junk that he doesn't even want on there. So, and like me, I don't have a manager and I don't have an agent, so I have to do that too. I have to do my casting, which I prefer to do. I'm not knocking them, but a lot of these casting directors are only hiring their own friends and their own little groups of agencies. And a lot of times you have to get in through the director or through the producer. Like if I went to David Lynch or Quentin Tarantino and I said, hey, can you get me an audition? Would you like me to audition for your movie? They say, yeah, what's your phone number? And I give them my phone number, I give them my website, and I let them see all my stuff, and the casting director would get in touch with me that way. Most of the time, they're so focused on the big stars in Hollywood, the little parts are given out to unknowns that are with certain agencies. You don't have to be with a big agent to be a great actor or director or representative, but you do have to know someone. And I don't think you need an agent, and I don't think you need casting directors anymore. I'm a very hands-on guy. When I produce, I do everything myself, and I oversee every aspect of the project from beginning to end. Also, there's screenings, there's ways to show the movie, and that's a lot of work. And that's about all I have to say today about producing. So stay tuned for more episodes.